hopefully.
Ladies, you're most welcome. How are you? Destination Newry's morning programme. And you guys have got a difficulty, Joan and Martina. The problem is ME and fibromyalgia.
That's right.
Would one of you like to tell me what it's about and what is it?
Well, the illness called ME is sometimes called chronic fatigue syndrome. And that gives people the perception that it's just about being tired.
Yeah.
Well, it's very, very far from being tired. My own personal story, which I'll not go into in great detail, I went down with sudden onset ME, which is one day I was normal and the next day I developed a flu-like illness.
Wow.
Only it felt like a tummy bug, a flu, it felt like a whole lot of things all mixed in the one. So to cut a long story short, I spent 12 months in bed.
12 months?
12 months. Unable to even go to the bathroom. My husband would have carried me to the bathroom.
Goodness gracious.
Lost about 2 stone weight. You had all this, you looked as though you were going to die. You felt as though you were going to die, but you didn't.
Yeah.
I started to recover to a certain degree, and I made the great mistake of pushing myself to go back to work because I loved my job.
Yeah.
And all I was able to do was work and sleep. There was nothing else.
Goodness
there was no
gracious.
social life. There was no cooking in the house. There was no shopping. My husband and my mum did all that.
Yeah.
So to try and hold on to your job, you thought, I can push through this.
Surely.
I can work my way through this. But that was the most dangerous thing I could have done, and I collapsed then about 6 months later, and I spent the next 6 years in bed.
6 years in bed?
Yeah, that's very normal for ME patients, Rowan.
Goodness gracious.
Some of them are bedbound for decades.
This is something that foolish people used to refer to as the yuppie
flu.
which is such a nonsense.
That's right,
You know,
that's right.
Martina, you're the chair of the Newry
I am,
ME
yes.
group.
Yeah.
What has your experience been?
I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia in 2005.
And how did that affect you?
Fibromyalgia affects you more with pains right throughout your body. You also have a certain amount of fatigue and brain fog, as they call it, which is confusion and unable to hold a conversation and things like that. You also have a lot of stomach problems, IBS and things like that.
Yeah.
I went along to the group in Newry that Joan was running, and about 2 years later my symptoms gradually changed. They became worse. I felt more tired than I had, and I couldn't understand what was happening. So I began to read more about ME and realised that I had ME as well.
Joan, is it something you recover from?
I have never, ever met anybody that recovered from ME.
So what's the ongoing effect of it on you?
Well, some people, as I say, remain bedbound for decades. But in my case, I started to improve where I can now be upright for about 3 hours at a time.
Goodness gracious.
And then the dizziness starts, the exhaustion starts, the pain starts, the tummy starts. All the symptoms get worse as you use more energy because you have so little.
Have you, do you take medicine for it?
There's nothing.
There's nothing
There's
for it?
nothing.
What does your doctor say to you?
You know more about this than I do.
He's a smart doctor.
He's actually the best GP in Northern Ireland. But it's not the GP's fault. We actually wrote a letter and discovered under the Freedom of Information Act that the GPs receive no training in their college days on ME.
My goodness.
And we actually now do conferences to try and educate the medical professionals ourselves. We're doing that ourselves.
Yeah.
And the Department of Health in Northern Ireland and some physios and OTs have actually got in touch with us, asking us for information, which seems crazy.
I'm interested in spending 6 years in bed.
Yeah, that would be mild compared to some people.
Yeah.
How does that work? You're in bed 24/7?
24/7, yeah.
For 6 years?
Yeah.
But you must just go down and down and down.
Well, to keep seeing, you know, it's very hard to go from a very active life to nothing. You're left with absolutely nothing. And I really don't know how we keep seeing sometimes, but doing the group for the work keeps us focused and motivated. We're very highly motivated. Martina's exactly the same as himself in bringing education and awareness about this illness to dispel all the myths.
Was there a group before you got the illness and then decided that you would have a group?
Well, actually, there was nothing that we could find in Newry, so that's why we started up our own.
Yeah.
But I have since discovered a lady, she's just on the Armagh Road, and she had a group 20 years ago.
Ah, for goodness sake.
And she heard about us, got in touch with me, but through doing too much, which is our worst thing we can do, that lady's now totally bedbound again.
My goodness.
So I get to visit her maybe about once every 2 months or so.
So, Martina, it seems as though this is a cross you've got to bear ongoingly in your life.
Yeah.
Very much so, yeah. It's as if one day you're full of life and you find ME patients are very, in their life before they've been diagnosed, are very high achievers and very active people who don't have time to sit down usually. But when you're diagnosed with ME, it's as if someone's pulled the plug and you don't have the energy you had. You don't even have a quarter of the energy you had.
Yeah.
And you have to make a choice every day as to what you're going to spend that energy on.
That's right.
And sometimes that may only be personal hygiene or doing a few things about the house. That might be your limit.
Yeah. But like, I mean, if I don't think I've ME, I hope not, but if I want to cheer myself up, if I'm at home and I maybe had a busy day, I'll have a shower, and that cheers me up, makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Does something like that lift you and make you feel better?
No.
That exhausts us.
Exhausts
The amount of energy, if you could imagine a bank account where you've only got £1 to spend every day, where a normal person has £100 to spend. That's what Martina was saying.
Yeah.
We have to choose the tiny bit of energy we have has to be used on what we decide that day. So we're in here today. I got out of bed an hour ago.
My goodness.
Well, maybe make it for a cup of tea in the Shelbourne or something, and then I'll have to go back to
home
bed. And then maybe get up about 3 or 4 hours later. That's how a day is, Rowan.
So that's the way it is for every
This
person.
is a good day.
For every person suffering from ME, that's the kind of regime.
That's the kind of life you have to live. Yeah.
And why doesn't the medical profession know more about it?
Because of the stigma, because psychiatrists grabbed hold of this illness and said, because there was because there isn't as yet no diagnostic test, and they grabbed it and said, oh, it must be in their minds. They're imagining this illness.
And are they still saying that?
They actually are still saying that.
But I'd understand, for what little I know of it, that it was a kind of exploded flu thing.
That's
you
right,
really,
so that's what it feels like,
It was destroying you,
That's
and that it is not psychiatrically induced, but it is there as part of your immune system or whatever.
Right, that's right. Actually, just about a few weeks ago, the Japanese did a research project, and they can actually now see the brain inflammation with is it a PET scan?
Yes, I've heard of PET scan, yes.
They can actually do that.
Yeah.
So I have been asking here in Northern Ireland to get that done. I have been asking to get another test done. We brought a researcher over in February from California, and he presented all the evidence of the level of disability actually in Stormont on a conference we did, and I have asked the local hospitals and they won't do it. Nobody wants to know.
So there is, in spite of this being the most horrendous of conditions, which is taxing you to the limit in terms of your energy.
Totally.
Yes.
You've nobody out there fighting for you, working for you.
Exactly.
Newry and Mourne support group really are leading the way at the moment in education and awareness.
Oh, my goodness.
And I think as regards the medical profession, it's because we look so well and it's an invisible illness.
Yeah.
And even your own family find it hard to believe that one day you're able to do a certain amount and the next day you're not.
On a worldwide level, what's the state of research?
There's 5,000 peer-reviewed papers published already, and still the medical profession are refusing to look at it. So the evidence is there, and the tests are there, but they won't do them.
Well, there's fellows will be coming round and girls will be coming round your houses between now and the 22nd of May.
That's exactly, yeah.
What are the politicians going to do about it?
They supported
They're
as well,
actually
didn't they?
very supportive. Yes, they are. But from the conference in February, everything moves slowly, as you know, in politics.
It
So
does,
we're
surely.
trying to establish something that we could gain NHS services in Northern Ireland.
Yeah. Well, I would think that's something that you have a total right to expect.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
that
w-
you have a total right to expect the politicians to be there actively working in your behalf.
They are, they're very good. The local politicians here in Newry are excellent.
Yeah, but they're not delivering yet.
Well, it's going to take time.
Yeah.
We are actually petitioning for the adoption of what you call the Canadian Consensus Guidelines.
Now, what is that?
That's, how would you describe it? It would be
It's a medical guideline.
a medical guide that GPs or consultants would use, that all our symptoms are listed, that it would be easier for them to diagnose.
Yes.
Because the biggest problem is here misdiagnosis.
Yes.
Because people who are suffering from depression, which is no lesser an illness,
No, but
but
it's different.
it's all being mixed up in the one, you know, oh, they're depressed or this, that. So the guidelines that we are petitioning for, we've nearly 1,000 names on,
Yes, we have.
on it already, and that'll be presented to the Minister of Health.
Goodness gracious, well done.
Yeah.
And this has been done in £1 worth of energy a day.
Yeah, it is,
Exactly.
yes.
Hey,
Yeah, that's why we're so slow.
You're some ladies,
Yeah.
I tell you.
We're 2 steps forward and 1 back, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
When now you see them, now you don't type of
Yeah.
thing. We do
Yeah.
something one night and you don't see us for a week again.
But 2 steps forward and 1 step back gives you a step advantage on
Step-
every occasion,
yeah,
doesn't
that's
it?
right,
So
that's
you're
right.
doing all right. It's not
Yeah.
too bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, when did it start for you? Joan?
13th of October 1999, I can pinpoint the day that my life practically
Changed.
ended,
Yeah.
you know.
But this is something that's, and for you, Martina?
Mid 2000.
Mid-2000.
Well, I had actually been going to the doctor and different specialists for about 10 years before I was diagnosed. So mine was late 1990s as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
really, although I wasn't aware of what I had until 2005.
This is something that presumably won't kill you, but the kind of symptoms that inject themselves deeply into your lives will create a state of ill health that could kill you.
Well, actually, Rowan, the highest cause of death in ME and fibromyalgia patients is suicide. And that's,
dear, oh.
that is
Dear, oh dear,
due
oh
to
dear.
neglect.
Yeah.
That's due to the misunderstanding, the neglect, and the no relief of the severe symptoms. And it's that bad. We're taking suicidal calls, and we aren't equipped to deal with that. So thankfully, PIPs in Newry, we've linked up with them, and then we pass on these most severe patients to PIPs, and they get them counselling and that. The second cause of death is heart failure,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and the third would be cancer.
yeah.
So to say that people don't die from this illness, they do.
No, that's the point I was making to you.
yeah,
That
slowly.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. The conditions that
That's right.
that ME create within your body,
That's right.
Yeah.
and they still say it's psychiatrically
And
induced.
some
What
people
nonsense.
say,
Yeah.
although
Yeah.
we have some good doctors, but
Yeah.
you
It
know,
affects every organ in your body,
Yeah.
or every.
So if I were today, if I were suffering from the symptoms, and I went to my doctor over there, is he likely at the end of the consultation to say, Rowan, I think you've got ME? Is he likely to say that?
it's potluck, 50-50. Depends on the
It
GP's
depends, yeah.
attitude and knowledge.
But I mean, if somebody says to you, if you say to a doctor, Doctor, I'm spending every day in bed, more or less, and it's been now I'm in my 6th year, there must be alarm bells ring somewhere along the line.
I know, but their hands are tied. There is no medication. There's
They'll eliminate everything else
they'll
before
eliminate the big
they'll-
killers.
Yeah.
So
before
what
they
we're really
diagnose
looking
ME.
at is an endeavour to get a programme of research which is going to come up with answers.
That's right. We actively fundraise for biomedical research, and we usually send any donations to a charity in Scotland called ME Research UK.
Yeah.
There is none in Northern Ireland. I would support them too. And that's the only thing we can do to help ourselves, and that is
Yeah.
get money to biomedical research. That's
Goodness
our medicine sort of thing now.
You're shocking me beyond belief. I
It is
tell you.
it is a hidden epidemic. It is shocking. People, I don't know, they probably can't believe the extent of the
Yeah.
disability
Yeah.
until you experience it. I had heard yuppie flu and all, but
Yeah.
when you to try and live it is, and there's men, there's women, there's children as young as 6 years of
Oh
age.
dear.
Even here in Northern Ireland, there's children.
We're really not getting our act together at all.
No,
No.
no.
Which is a gruesome truth. That's
Yes.
awful.
Well, our awareness campaign this year is bigger than it was last year.
So what are you doing for the campaign?
Right. Last year we lit up the 18 Arches Viaduct.
On £1 worth of energy a day. That's what
day.
they're. What would these people be like if they had huge energy? You'd change the world.
We would. We'd love to. And Canada last year lit up Niagara Falls. So this year they have thrown out a friendly challenge to Northern Ireland. And we don't win anything, just bragging rights.
Yeah.
So this year Northern Ireland have 10 buildings.
You're going to light up.
Well, we aren't personally, but we have 2. We have 3. And then
What are our 3?
Newry Town Hall,
Town Hall,
the Arts Centre,
the Arts Centre, yeah.
and Bestbrook Town Hall.
Gee, that's good stuff.
And then there's another group in Belfast, and they're doing the City Hall, and there's a group in Limavady.
Invadi.
Yeah.
I can't remember
It's
all
great.
the places,
Yes.
but it's fabulous.
Well, you were telling me you'll be, you'll be back in bed before tea time.
Yeah.
Oh,
this evening.
absolutely, yeah. We've got about, well, I've got about...
And do you sleep when you're in bed?
No.
You're just lying,
You can't
tossing and
sleep.
turning?
Yeah,
Goodness gracious.
you can't sleep. So you do a lot of thinking, and that's...
You do, that's
Yeah.
not
During the
good
during the
either.
bed-bound years, that's what we thought.
Yeah.
You know, if we ever get out of this, we're going to do something about
Yeah.
it. So the
You're
limit
doing it. You're
we
doing
are.
it.
We're doing it,
You're
and we'll
doing it.
love doing it. You
Yeah,
know?
of course you do. The Newry group. Tell me about the group. How it began and what you do together in the
can
group
hardly
and
remember.
how you support each other in the group.
It began with an advertisement in the Newry Reporter
Yeah.
that I put out, and I set up a meeting, and it was in the Mourne Country Hotel, and I was sitting at a top table. I hadn't a clue what I was going to do, and the people just wouldn't stop coming in through the door. There was about 60 on the first night, wasn't it?
Goodness gracious.
And everybody in desperation, so we got a committee together, and we lose people along the way. So Martina took over then from January, and she's absolute dynamite. She scares me.
Hey.
She's worse than I am. So we'll come along, and we have speakers. We
Yeah.
get ME and fibromyalgia friendly doctors
Yeah.
and researchers down to Newry.
Yeah.
And we have international conferences where we bring over experts from America, California, everywhere.
Well, I'm very conscious that you are the experts. I'm not. So as we draw to the close of our conversation, is there anything we haven't covered that you want to let the people know? I think we've covered a lot.
We have covered a lot.
Yeah.
Well, there is one thing. To please support us in our endeavours to get money for ME research.
Right, and how will people be able to do that?
How they could do that is come along to our fundraiser on Monday the 12th of May, which is International ME Awareness Day
Okay.
and Fibromyalgia. And it's in Newry Arts Centre, and we have a very kind gentleman. He's doing a comedy hypnotist and a Gareth Brooks tribute act
Oh, there you are.
for our Mayo Wealth Awareness. And at 11 o'clock then, Newry Town Hall and Newry Arts Centre will go blue
There you
for
are.
our awareness campaign.
I think that's as good as it gets. My heart and my spirit are with you. I
Thank
wish you well.
Can I
And-
just say before we finish as
Yes.
well, the meeting takes place in the Mourne Country Hotel on the first Tuesday of every month.
First Tuesday of every month,
Yes.
the ME meeting in the Mourne Country Hotel.
At 7
It's worth
p.m.
knowing about that
Yes.
for folk at 7 p.m.
Thank you.
You've opened my eyes. I shall now support what you're trying to achieve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With all the strength that I have.
Thank you very
Whether
much.
it be a pound or £10 worth of strength, we'll see.
Thank you.
Go well. Take care.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Ronan.
God bless
Thank
you.
you.